Barcelona.
Barcelona.
To retrieve the evidence.
Dr. Bravo.
Hi, baby.
Are you ready for the trip?
I'm ready for the trip. I'm so excited. We're going to do some very wonderful work, and I can't wait to get the results.
Upon arriving in Spain to look at the being for the very first time, I was kind of skeptical. It was definitely a game changer for my thought process to actually see it in person than to see it on film. The first thing we had to do was go to the radiology lab because we needed x-rays and CAT scans before we did anything.
Porque esto es, ya se lo comenté, que era un poco difícil de hacer. Es, ¿okay?
The best we can get.
Lo mejor que pueda hacer. Porque evidentemente no se puede manipular para nada.
No.
The head radiologist at the center saw the beam and was quite impressed. And the first thing she said was, "Wow, that looks like an alien."
We have it, so that's really okay. This is fabulous.
This was pretty good for you.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
This one is complete.
And when the CAT scan images started coming up on the computer, it was just profound. And I saw inside the bone, and I saw, organs and lung material, brain material. I knew that this was not a hoax, it was not fake, that this was actually some sort of living creature.
Right, well, if somebody made it, they have a future in microsurgery because they were smart enough then to put in these millimeter-wide bone holes where the arteries go in to feed the bone marrow. And so now the challenge is to prove what it is, right? My interest, frankly, is to disprove that it's anything unusual or anything paranormal. I would like to prove that this is human. I would like to prove that this is just an interesting mutation, but obviously if you leave your mind open, or I should say if you leave your mind closed to alternatives, you'll never see what those alternatives might actually be. In every situation with scientists, your reputation's at stake. I have every expectation that even doing this is going to lead to some ribbing from some of my colleagues, right? But I think that that's perfectly acceptable because at the end of the day, who's going to validate these things? If someone isn't willing to step forward and do it right, then you're going to have it sitting out there forever, hanging in limbo, right? I mean, if you let other people and their opinions stop you from believing what you know to be true, then all you're doing is stopping the possibility of progress.
Anytime anybody tries to study this subject seriously, we're subject to ridicule. I'm a full professor at a relatively major university, and I'm certain that my colleagues at the university laugh at me and hoot and holler behind my back when they hear that I have an interest in studying unidentified flying objects.
There's really a subtle kind of suppression at play here. You don't worry about what the CEO of Enron thinks about what you say. You worry about what your friends think. You worry about what your parents would think if you posted whatever you care about on Facebook or something.
We take the risk to appear to be a crackpot. There may be people who are going to be threatened by that for any number of reasons.
My feeling was that I was involved in a lot of strange activities, so I tried to say to myself, let's not look at this with too much exposure and mention it because there's a question of credibility.
This should be the subject of rigorous scientific investigation and not the subject of rubbishing by tabloid newspapers.